Welcome back to the Twin Flame Union. This is the part 2 of the channeling session. Divine Masculine makes a long, heartfelt phone call to Divine Feminine. Now, I would also like to say that though I have specified that there is a certain type of energy in this channeling of certain type of people, but I would also like to say that there would be these scenarios playing out where the Divine Masculines would be calling up Divine Feminines up and they would be having a very long conversation. In this channeling session, I sense that, and I picked up the energies that they also plan to meet. They also plan to physically spend time with each other. But though those things are discussed, but the content of the channeling is very deep and very, very heartfelt. That's why I've mentioned the word heartfelt. It's because in this scenario, in this case, the Divine Masculine and the Feminine both have had their share of hardships, their share of traumas, their share of wounds. Both of them have gone through a lot, and both of them have had their share of bad relationships, had their share of betrayals from biological connections, immediate biological connections. And it's not easy when you know that your own father or your own mother or your own siblings are tormenting you for such a long time and they're never going to change. They find out that they probably have narcissistic templates. And in all of this that they go through, they find that their DM and their DF are like a shining star in the night, or it's like the moonlight in the night. They feel like they have someone very pure, very innocent, very loving, very kind-hearted in their life who they can always look forward to connecting with. And they don't want to give it any label right now. They don't want to give any name to this connection because it's a very, very sweet connection, very meaningful connection. And I also want to say that all of those Divine Feminines who feel that, that the masculines are always having fun or they have their own thing going on, it's not always the case. Mostly that is not the case. Most of the times they have their own struggles, they have their own battles. Now, I'm not a person who promotes misogyny. I'm not a person who is also into fake feminism. So as a channeler, I would like to say this, not just as a channeler, but also as a coach, also as an ascension coach, or as a therapist, as a writer also, from all of those capacities, from an artistic perspective also, from a perspective where I'm connected with the animals or the street people or all these various facets of life. I have met many different types of people, and I always feel that one thing that stands out in people is the love they possess in them. Very few people have like that amount of love, but those who do always stand out. They could be whatever in their behavior. They may not be very sweet and they may not be very like how some people are, how some sugar coated fake people are, but they would have that kind of humanity in them. And the DMs and the DFs, not just this specific one, all of you people, all of you Divine Feminines and all of you Divine Masculines, all of you people who are on the twin flame journey, you have that type of humanitarian value in you that makes you stand out, in front of, as compared to other people. Now, both of them have actually possessed these qualities for a long time, and they were taken for a ride by many people, and yet they have been responsible enough. Now, when there's one interesting thing that happens, that when this channeling was given to me after I completed the merge channeling, I felt that there was a strong energy of merge because both of them have been watching each other on social media, in real life. They have been talking to each other, though the communications have not been very regular. And there was a time of no contact also because they were in hermit stage. And when you're in hermit stage, you don't really speak to anyone. You don't want to speak to anyone. There's no need to speak to anyone. But now that they are out of the hermit stages and they're out of all those things, all of those doubts and questions, he basically calls to tell her that, this is what my life has been. I just want you to know. Now, by the time the Divine Masculine has called her up to have this deep conversation, very deep conversation, he has actually experienced pretty much a lot of things. And it is by his experience that he has learned and he's realized that she is one of the best human beings he has ever met. And why? Because she's on a mission, she's on a purpose, and that mission actually inspires him a lot to also live the same way, because he tried and tested out many things. That's how most divine masculines are. They try and test things out, and they understand, they learn by practical experience, karmic experiences. And she, on the other hand, being completely singled out or being left out, and while she is rejected, she learns too. I mean, there is a lot of similarity, and there is still a lot of some kind of difference in the way they work things out. And I have explained that in many channelings, but right now, so they do have very cute conversation. First of all, let me tell you that before I get into the serious side of it. He tries to ask her things like what is her future plan and what is she doing, and then gives her many compliments. And now she's the type of person who doesn't really care about compliments, so she totally sort of doesn't get very excited about the compliments. Then he tells her like how much he respects her and how much he's inspired by the work she's doing or by the things she's doing in life. And then he says, I completely, and the big thing is that he had also changed his lifestyle a lot by seeing her, what she's doing, and then by practical experience. So this is why I spoke about experience, how they learn. He gained something from it. He gained some bliss from it. He gained some sort of happiness from it. He gained a lot of contentment from it. So first he saw her living in a certain way, a certain lifestyle. He got very impressed by it and also very attracted. He was very drawn to live like that. And when they used to connect previously also, and she would tell him that, okay, leave all this, don't be like this, come on, just chill out, spiritual life is the real life, or, you should eat this way, you should be healthy. So he was always experimenting with healthy lifestyle and making lifestyle choices. And you all know that twin flame ascension is basically also a type of lifestyle choice. It's not just something that, it's not religious at all, and it's not very woo-woo stuff also. It's very in the face, it's very practical. It's about, you got to be on planet Earth, you have a limited period of time, so you have to do certain things, and you will learn by being there. So why she learns first is because she goes through rejection first. Or it's because she's the one who faces all the doubt, and she's the one who's like, no, whatever you're saying is not correct. How you can live like this, when you're doing all the business, you can't be so straightforward, or you can't be so honest with people, or you can't be so easygoing. You can't just leave everything. You have to be materialistic. So those were the dialogues, those were the exchanges they had, and where his ego was very hurt, and he was like, no, she doesn't make any sense. What the hell is she talking about? But at the same time, he could see that there was a certain amount of peace, contentment, relaxation. And obviously it was something that he was drawn to. What he was drawn to, he did not know. That was a similarity in the DNA that he was drawn to. And there are also cases of monadic twins where the feminine basically is like a teacher also. So he was always looking for a good teacher. He never found a true teacher or a real teacher. And I don't mean guru. Guru is different, teacher is different, a coach is different. So even if I can say that I'm an ascension coach, but I can never say, I don't want to say that I can be a guru. Because gurus are just, they are masters. They are Like, who are we in front of the Guru? Guru is something, wow, just there is no, it's even wrong to even compare. So nevertheless, he was looking for a good teacher, a true teacher, a real teacher, and he never found one, and he was always very depressed about that, and he always felt that he can never trust people, he can never trust a teacher. But when he saw her, it was like he found a teacher as well, and he was like, yeah, I must do what she's saying. So whatever she was talking about on wherever, all the platforms, wherever we talk, all of us talk, be it on Facebook or on WhatsApp or on Instagram or in real life, or he was like, okay, let me just follow what she's doing, let me just try it out. Maybe it starts from simple things like waking up in the morning, or maybe it starts from eating organic food, or maybe it's just serving other people, humans or animals, or maybe just following your heart and doing a business where it's a lot of fun, or just living a minimalistic lifestyle where you don't keep buying stuff which is of no use, living in a very simple house, things like that. And he started applying it. Like, for example, she met him one day and she told him, you don't need all these cars, you don't need all these diesel cars and petrol cars, because it's really bad for your health and it's very bad for the environment. Imagine what type of life are we going to give to the coming generations. And he was very enamored by that. Now, there could be someone who would have a very big ego and be like, what the hell is she talking about? Maybe she cannot buy a good car, or maybe she doesn't have enough money, so she's just blabbering. But no, he heard her. He tried to figure it out. Like, how can someone live without a fancy car? Or how can someone live without not wearing any branded clothes? Or how can someone buy this, or live a simple life, or eat this way, whatever. I mean, it could be different for different people, but it started from a small thing. What's here in this channeling is, it started from something small. He applied it, he liked the change, and then he started saying, okay, let me try this also, let me try that also, and slowly and gradually he literally started realizing the reason why she's a content person. So from being a monadic to being a very, you're very attracted to someone, like the masculine, the DM is very attracted to her. But something about her behavior or her words or just something, would be like, no, I don't think I can be with her. I don't think I can commit to her. And then he would go away and they would choose some other things. And then he would go through a major heartbreak or a setback, or, feel very dejected. Then he would again think about her and be like, okay. So doing this back and forth, this is also a type of runner chaser dynamic. This is also to and fro. And I keep telling you guys, there are different types of situations, but the core is the same. So when you listen to the channeling, we're all a part of the same community. We are all listening to one another's stories and one another's energies. And it's always so nice to know that, there are people who are so amazing. And twin flame people, like especially I would like to say, you guys are here to do something big. And when I say big, I don't want to make it sound like a very superiority complex driven statement. I mean to say, the work, that the area that you have chosen is so big that it's really like all the petty issues and all the pain you are going through right now, or all the things that you don't like about the separation or the shadow work, or the way people have treated you, all your bad experiences, when everything culminates into the final stages, when you start surrendering, you will realize that everything was worth it. Every single second, every single minute, everything was worth it. Because when you start feeling the real thing, you start living a life which is free of all the materialistic drama, of all the tensions and problems and stress and this and that, you then realize that, okay, this is real life. This is real life. Now I get it. So he is going through that, and then he starts sharing about all his. Now, I'm definitely not going to get into what they shared word by word, but he starts sharing all the things he faced, throughout his life, in his childhood, in his growing up years, while working, while maintaining a lifestyle. And she feels really touched by that. She feels like, wow, that is so nice. And she feels a certain kind of gratitude that he actually, chose her. So technically, if you see, he tried to make a lot of phone calls to her, cannot reach her. Then finally she, connects with him. Finally they talk. And it's not she cannot reach him because she doesn't want to talk to him, but she just gets busy or something happens. And when they start talking, it's one by one by one by one by one. They start telling each other and listening to him. She also starts sharing that, yeah, this happened with me, that happened with me, and I completely understand your pain. I really know what you went through. It's really sad. And he consoles to her. He even apologizes to her for all the bad things that other people put her through. And he's like, I couldn't even imagine that you've gone through all this. And despite going through all this, you are an amazing person. You're so happy. You're so giving. You're so kind. And you live your own life. You don't care about the world. You don't care about what others tell you or what others say or what others do. Even if people have done bad things to you, still you have a very strong personality. So these are the things that he has been noticing for over a decade. That's why I tell a lot of people that for many people, don't just get attracted by the crash courses that people offer on Twin Flames online. And they say that in 2 months, I'll put you into union. And even when I give therapies to people, I give therapies to many people, but at the same time, I don't offer these things like get into a union after the course. It's because when we do therapy, we heal the traumas. And when we heal the traumas, we release the blocked energies. When we release the blocked energy, which has been there for so many years, imagine 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 15 years, you're carrying the same energy and you're seeing the same thing happen to you every now and then. When those energies are released, you feel uplifted, you feel very relaxed, you feel very light, you feel very present. And then things change in your life. So it's no one can give you a guarantee of anything because you don't know how much. When you get into therapy, sometimes you start from a very small thing and later on you find out, oh, there's a bipolar person in the family, oh, there was a suicide case in the family, oh, there was a financial crisis in the family, or there was this in the family, or there was sexual abuse in the family, or there was sexual manipulation in the family, or in the school there was bullying, or in the college that happened. So many layers upon layers upon layers get released. And once the person gets into these types of therapies, they themselves start feeling a big change. They feel very light, they feel very relaxed. They've told me, many of them have told me that I feel so relaxed. I feel like I'm floating on the clouds. Like, can I get more therapy? Then the therapy becomes like, okay, can I get one more session? Every time there's something, people tell me, can I get another session? Because there is so much to work on. And these two people have done a lot of inner work, is what I've been told. They have done a huge amount of inner work. And both of them have been very aware, very mature. As I said in part one also, very responsible people. Now, what they are discussing in this energy is that they're discussing about the future. They're discussing about the role of masculine and feminine on planet Earth. So imagine very high vibrational conversations. They talk about what can they do to contribute for future generations. And he shares all of these things with her, like what should I do? And now he's seeking advice. Now with time, the changes. Let me talk about the changes now. One of the biggest changes that has happened with him towards her is that he's become very patient. He's a good listener now. He's not again refuting and debating with her how he used to debate and argue and then be like, yeah, whatever. Now he's more like, okay, I should listen to her. I should give her that respect. And now he's also giving her respect out of what he has been seeing and observing. And she also is very bold and she can correct him without feeling any judgment. Like, that type of personality all divine feminine should have. They should not feel very bad about being who they are. So she's very unapologetically herself, and even if she uses a cuss word, or even if she abuses on something, or even if she makes a funny joke, she's not feeling bad about it anymore. Earlier she would feel bad about everything that she is. And also, let me tell you, people who form a very spiritualistic image, like they wear certain type of clothes, they talk in a certain type of tone, they talk in a certain type of manner, or they do certain things, you can never be so perfect. That's what the thing is about perfect people. You never know what they're going to do. They're very unpredictable, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, and they have to be unpredictable, and they have to be spontaneous, because the world is full of different types of people. Not everyone is, black and white. There are gray people also. So there are gray areas also. Or when you are a gray person, then you might one day encounter white or black. Then you have to act accordingly. It's very important to act accordingly. They have both gone through those phases where they had to argue with people, they had to be mean to people, which was against their own nature. They are both very kind-hearted souls, very beautiful souls, is what I see. So they had to go against their own nature, but then they realized that this is what karma is all about. This is, if you read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Arjun had to kill his own brothers, he had to kill his own teachers, he had to kill his own great grandfather. Why? Because they were on the wrong side, they were on the evil side, they chose to be on the evil path. So, and they did, the brothers did some evil things, the first cousins. So it was very difficult for him to pick up the weapons and fight against them. They have also gone through these difficulties. The divine masculine and the feminine, when I'm channeling, I'm not channeling for just two people, I'm channeling the energy. So a lot of you have gone through the same rigmarole and the same difficulty that Arjun must have gone through, where he felt that, these are my own people. How do I say this to them? Or how do I do this to them? Or how do I separate myself from them? Or how do I move away from them? After all, we all work for one reason, family. Family is our number one priority. But what if your own family never understands you? If your own family puts you down, or if your own family humiliates you constantly, or if your own family backstabs you, what do you do then? It's a very difficult situation to be in. So Arjun also had to face those situations, but he had Lord Shri Krishna as his charioteer. So we also need to be in that state where we know that Source is our charioteer. Source is driving. He's the driver, he or she, that Source is the driver of our vehicle of life. So what can apparently go wrong? So you have all your questions, all your doubts, all your discussions you must do with the Source energy, with your master, with your guru, with your teachers. I mean spiritual teachers. So these things have happened in both of their lives, and they're having a very long conversation. It's probably 2 hours, over 2 hours, 3 hours. They don't care about the time anymore, because it's so sweet talking to each other. It's so comforting talking to each other. It's like home, connecting with each other. And they are trying to make future plans also, but not directly, because it's no longer, they don't belong to the materialistic realm anymore. So they are like, yeah, whatever happens, it's fine. So it's a confession of love, but it's also confession of fears. It's also like telling, I'm scared to be in love now. I'm scared to get into commitment. I've been heartbroken so many times. So they're both consoling each other. It's a very beautiful conversation. They're consoling each other. At the same time, they're talking about their traumas. At the same time, they're uplifting each other. At the same time, they're, sharing doubts. And at the same time, so it's like coming on the same page and being one another's friend, advisor, counselor, guide, coach, lover, whatever. So that is the energy of this channeling. And any one of you who is resonating with this, or who feels that you have had a very similar twin flame journey, where you came together, went back, came together, went back, but there were many situational problems, there were many societal issues, or there were many other issues like confusion about the right type of person to be with, or there was some ego, or then just be rest assured. Just keep connecting with the Source. Source is the integration is the main thing. And on this note, I'm going to end this channeling. Much love to all of you all. One love and peace out.